All right, welcome back to the SSL Family Dad channel. Today we're talking all about our new baby goats. This happens every year here on the farm. We breed and sell these dwarf Nigerian mixes of goats. We've got some pygmy crosses and things like that, basically just as pets. And just about this time of year, we have lots of goat babies running around. And so we've had lots of births going on in the last couple weeks. And this is the most pregnant mothers we've had all at the same time anyway. So it's been a challenge to find space for everyone. We also have more pigs than we've ever had at the same time. We have piglets and several breeding pairs, and some are raising out for pork, and so lots of animals to try to sort around here. And the one thing with baby goats is, and their mothers, is that goats are a companion animal. They're a herd animal. They do not like to be alone. And so we try to keep at least two mothers together in the same little pasture area, or little birthing stalls. We've kind of separated out here, and I'll show you all that just here in a second. And then once the goats give birth, they have their babies with them. They can be separated off into a solitary stall if they need be at the time, because then they're with their babies, and so they're okay. But if you stick a goat by itself, it will just cry and whine and make all kinds of noise and just be all depressed and sad. And it's a pitiful thing to behold. So Doug over at Off Grid with Doug and Stacy, he thinks that baby sheep are the cutest animals. I am gonna probably have to disagree, because baby goats are pretty darn cute, I think. We have had a lot of very small babies this year. We've actually had, for the first time, we've had a few births that there were some stillborns this year, actually quite a few. Throughout all the births that we've had a couple mothers that have given birth to 5 babies, actually one that gave birth to 5 babies, and only 2 of them made it. I think it was just too much of a, I've never seen, what is that, quintuplets be born. And we had a couple quads. We had a couple that gave birth to 4, which is unheard of really in itself. We had 2 that gave birth to 4, and then 1 that gave birth to 2, and 1 that gave birth to 3. And so we've had lots of healthy births and some that weren't so great. We've had to try to nurse a few goats back to health, if you've been following us on social media. And unfortunately that goat that we've been trying to work with didn't make it. We tried everything we could, took it inside, bottle feeding it and everything else. And sometimes that's just the case. You do the best you can with these animals. You make sure that they're fed well, make sure that they're healthy, make sure that they have the medication that they need for worming and things like that. And the rest is up to them. And sometimes, births are, 5 babies inside one of them tiny little goats is that's a lot of babies in there. So it's just a lot of babies. But I'll take you around and show you some of the goat babies that we have. You saw most of them at the beginning there, but I'll kind of introduce you to a couple of my favorites, and we'll take a look at them and see how they're doing. So I've also been using the little goat milking stanchion that I built last year to milk some of the mothers, and man, has this thing been just awesome. Along with the little goat milker here, the little automatic goat milker, this thing makes this whole goat milking thing so awesome and easy and simple, and I will never milk goats or any animals without a system like this. I have a full video on that. I'll link in the card system there in the upper right hand corner of your screen, a little eye, and how to build that. Super cheap and very easy, and just works great. So, and a little pallet milk stanchion that was free, been working really good. So other than I spilled a bunch of oil on it over the winter somewhere, my chainsaw I think was sitting on it. So, but other than that, it's been holding up pretty well. So this is Lily. She is, we believe, is a Nigerian dwarf, a purebred. She was given to us by her cousins, and they just couldn't have her anymore, and so we took her, and we've bred her with Adam, our Nigerian dwarf, purebred buck. These 2 little babies were born a couple weeks ago actually, and they are the best looking little goats that I think we've ever had. Both of them have very stark blue eyes, and they're super friendly and just the sweetest little goats. White fur, and I mean, look at that. Look at that goat. I don't know, Doug, I think that is cuter than any baby lamb. Then the other one here, super friendly. We haven't named any of these guys yet. They're both of these are little does. These guys were just born a couple hours ago, 4 of them. And she had 4 last year also. 4 babies is pretty rare. We generally see 2 or 3. And so these guys are all pretty small, but they have been doing pretty good. Some of them are a little weaker than others, and this one's trying to milk off the wrong end of the goat. And some of them are just have been laying around a lot. That one behind her there. But she's been doing good. This is Annabelle. She's a veteran mama, and she's been doing good. This is the 3rd litter that she's had here on our farm. And look at these little guys. This litter was bred with Oreo, the other buck, and the first time we've ever bred her with Oreo. He's a registered Nigerian dwarf also, and but he's all different colors, all black and white, instead of the lighter colors that the other one is. And these 3 here, there's 1, 2, and 3, and then the little mama back there. These were the first born on the first goats born on the farm this year, and these guys are super healthy and playful. They have been just running around, tearing the place up. And these ones have a lot of fun because they can actually sneak through the slats in the gates and the fencing here, and they can go visit all the other babies and play with them and then come back to their mom. So they've been bouncing around and climbing all over everything. But this mama had 5 babies, and unfortunately only 2 of them made it. The other 3 were stillborns. We came out here right after she had dropped them and given birth, and these are the only 2 that made it. They've been real lazy, but they have been getting up and drinking and walking around and stuff. So these guys are a couple days old. Just the tiniest little things. These are much smaller than most of the other goats we've had born on the farm, but I think they're going to do just fine. It seems to be their favorite thing to do is to climb on mom's back. So people always ask, what do we do with these goats, and why do we breed them or whatever. They have been a great income source for us on our little farm here. They're very easy to raise. They don't cost a lot. They pretty much feed on our open pasture most of the year, and then through the winter we feed them our hay, of course, and they do get a goat feed, and they don't get too much of that throughout the year anyway. And the babies, these little babies, fetch a pretty good price. Healthy little doelings will bring about $200, and the bucklings will bring anywhere between 100 and 150. Some of them we will weather, which means we will get them fixed basically so they can't have babies. A weathered male goat is a great pet. They are probably the better of the 2, or 3 options, I guess, that you have with goats. But a weathered male goat, they are just known to be very docile and sweet. They don't have all of the characteristics of the unfixed bucks, which they have some pretty interesting ways to attract their female counterpart attention that are pretty gross. And so we only keep two bucks around here that are like that, and they're just for breeding for us. So we don't generally disbud any of the babies. For those of you who have been following along, I just did a video all about that, about disbudding the goats. We're just not a fan of that. With this small breed, it hasn't been an issue for us for them to have horns. It might be different with other breeds or bigger goats and other things, but we've had very good luck with mixed herds of horned goats and goats without horns living together and around each other's babies, as you can see, and all that stuff, and they do just fine. Yeah, they do some head ramming and they do some pushing around and stuff like that a lot of times, but there's never been any injuries from that or anything else. It's never been an issue for us. But so I've talked about all this before, but I made this little mothering area last year, and this is basically just kind of a temporary / permanent thing. Just out of some T-posts and some welded wire, and this just separates into kind of 3 places. We've got hog panels over here for Lily and her babies, and then this kind of stall opens up to this little pasture area outside of the barn for these 2 moms, and then these 2 moms are in the last kind of bigger area here with the most babies. And so this works really well, but there's never enough places to put animals on a farm. The one thing that I could say to anybody looking to raise goats or sheep or pigs or horses or whatever other farm animals you want to raise, chickens, I guess, you can never have enough places to put these animals, especially when they're giving birth, especially when you've got to separate moms from other moms. You have to separate the bucks, you have to separate the boys from the girls. You only want them to breed when you want them to breed. You got to, you know, separate different kinds of animals sometimes. Like, I don't want our pigs in with goats while they're giving birth because they'll eat the babies, and, you know, all kinds of other things. So you can never have enough places to put these animals. And so the one thing I would recommend, you know, first thing you do if you get your homestead started or your farm or whatever it is, you know, get your barn set up, start making pastures and start making shelters and start making pens for things. It's ahead of time, unlike we did here. It'll just help you out so much in the long run. So all of these fences were made with reclaimed materials. It was all free, and it's not pretty. It's why I said not really permanent. I mean, you can see it's, you know, I don't have, the corners aren't done right, so they're not tensioned and all things like that. But I'm using welded wire here with the goats, which isn't the ideal fencing for them. You should really be using a woven wire that's made for goat and sheep that they can't stick their heads in. But this welded wire has actually held up really well. What happens is the goats will jump up here and they'll stand on this piece of wire, and I've heard that they can break these welds. Now the small goats we have, that's never happened. I've never seen a weld broken on this fence, but definitely something to think about. All the gates were made from materials I had extra laying around. These hinges were off of a renovation I did inside, and so I just painted those. These are brass hinges I painted black. Reuse those. This is extra decking material that I had left over from another project, and I made the latch out of a bolt and some nuts and washers, and just a couple pieces of deck material. So this thing isn't perfect, this little latch, but it has worked pretty good. I think I need to make some adjustments on the tension I have on these nuts. Sometimes it gets loose and I have to tighten it up, but it works pretty good. It's been working for a year, and it didn't cost anything. So all these goat babies means that we're going to be milking, as I mentioned earlier, but we're going to start milking these goats quite often. I'm going to try to milk 3 of them continuously twice a day. That's my goal. I want to see how much goat milk we can get. And we use the goat milk mainly for cooking, for bread recipes. We'll use it in, so we're going to do goat soap this year. I said we were going to do it last year. We never got around to it. So I want to do that this year, and the SSL Family Mom has really wanted to do that, really make some goat soap. And so, and also we'll drink it. I mean, we're a little leery about drinking the goat's milk at first, but I tried it last year quite a few times, and I couldn't really tell much of difference between this particular goat milk and whole milk. I mean, it tasted pretty good. I made goat cheese last year, which actually turned out pretty good. The recipe I used was kind of bland. It really wasn't very flavorful, so it was kind of like eating cream cheese with no flavor, but it was all right. So we'll experiment with that a little more, and I'd like to see if I could make some kind of butter and other cream products, because it's a pretty high fat content in the milk here. So that's what we use the milk for. A lot of people always ask, you know, what we're using it for, and that's really our plan. So upcoming on the channel this year, hopefully this summer into the fall, we are going to be making a lot of renovation style improvements to the outside living, the barn, the garage, just making things look nicer, cleaning things up, redoing fencing, making it look better, adding pastures, building shelters. That we'll get a lot of projects to do this year, and we really need to improve these processes so that we can have a better space for the goats and the animals as we expand this operation. We're going to be getting rid of a lot of our pigs. Not all of them quite yet, but we're going to be reducing that, and I'll talk about that in another video. And now building some lofts and more storage for hay and other things. So a lot of things, a lot of projects upcoming, and a lot of improvements. It's time for us to reset and take what we've learned with breeding these goats and pigs and chickens and all these other things, and now make these systems work for us, make them as automated as possible, and make them as easy as possible, so that we're not spending hours and hours out here every day taking care of animals and moving people around and building fences and taking them down and all that stuff. So as always, don't forget to hit the thumbs up button. I say it on every video. Don't forget. Just reach down and hit it. It's easy. And if this is your first time to the SSL Family Dad channel, I'd love to have you tag along, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell for notifications when we post new content, and that's all you got to do. And then you'll be in. You'll be in on the new content. You'll be in on the new videos. So you got to do that. So as always, guys, thanks for watching. Have a good one.